completely different players inside of the roles, right? You would have wanted Pun, you would have wanted Ego, you would want Jane at sometimes as opposed to the other, and then Artemis and Ron OP is a roster they have fielded during the course of this split. And here they are with all these rosters. It kind of feels like they're playing like almost primarily backups at this point because they're just trying to find some semblance of cohesion among this team.
Yeah, it's has been a very, very rough time for Cerberus. No other way to put that. But regardless, we are here in this finals outing for them, and they need to keep playoffs in their hands. They may not be too scared about the prospect of a Agam losing, but you would always hate for it not to be up to you if you're going into the postseason.
Yeah, they have all too much of a short memory, I have to imagine, about what happened in the previous split, where they themselves were the ones that were in a position to go perfect, and yet it was a team competing for a playoff spot in a very similar situation that upset them and burst the sky last split to take that 4th spot in playoffs before ending up in the 3rd place position and beating them out of what seemed like nowhere in a 2-0 fashion in the very final game. They are all too familiar with that concept, and so yeah, for everybody, I think Cerberus taking this series is like the last stand. Losing this would be really, really horrible because even if you make playoffs, you have to think how much confidence is just completely shot from this team at that point.
Yeah, look, I mean, look, we're talking about Cerberus guaranteeing playoffs. We're not talking about Cerberus in playoffs yet. That discussion will be had after this week is over, because I agree it's a bit more doom and gloom. But in this series, I don't think it is particularly doom and gloom. I think they are in with a damn fighting chance. I think they've put together a good draft. That said, so has Luxury, for sure. And Luxury will be looking to end the split on a positive note. If they could pick up a Cerberus scalp, it would be huge for them, potentially going down into those relegation matches.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Walking into this one, they aren't relegated, right? Like they can't be relegated.
No, they are 6th. You're right.
They're guaranteed.
I got mixed up.
Yeah, they're good. There's just no stakes here.
Oh, hello.
Here they are, mid lane.
Yado in trouble, but lovely use of that fear. Killer Queen burned his flash. Yado has to use his in response, but he lives.
Yeah, I've actually seen this in other regions. It was a pretty common tactic that was used over the last couple of patches where you just flash very early on the Viego to burn the flash of somebody else on the map. And again, I'm always in favor of being able to use it to affect a control mage back into the river.
Yeah. Killer Queen is going to keep this one going as Cody flashes forward. We love that signature aggression. The tactical sweep will take down Fook. Now Poss on the run has to burn his flash to get away. Lovely movement from Coded.
Yeah, I love this because not only is it Killer Queen on the Viego, who's kind of getting aggressed against very quickly with Fook 1, but the support has to come in because in the one-on-one, especially if like Fook 1 doesn't land a bunch of the cooldowns to start things off or doesn't have vision, that's a pretty important thing. This is a replay of the level 1. Did something happen? Oh, it was the quick level 2. Burnt the cleanse from Puddin. Okay, lovely. We missed that elsewhere. Yeah, very, very nice play from Puddin. That was kind of completely off kilter from everything else we were going with. But yeah, it was a nice play to topside that actually got covered really well by Coded after Poss kind of made the first appearance in that one. So really well played by the Luxury topside.
Yeah, and now we have a replay of this clash as well. Look at Coded. He knows exactly where he's going.
Yeah, and again, Fook 1 missed the initial Q, which could have made the difference maker, because obviously if you land that, all of a sudden him and Poss maybe collectively are able to actually just like run into the river and go aggressive before the Ahri shows up, end up pulling a kill, maybe pulling a second one to Decoded if they decide to go in, but instead had to stall that out.
Oh, Coded's used his hookshot wall dive, he used it aggressively, and Fook is here for revenge, he finds it easily.
Just a pure bait right there. Yeah, Fook's hanging out in the brush. You have nothing else to do. You're just waiting. You could actually set your back and just say, okay, you get aggressive. I am able to actually punish you. And if you don't get aggressive, then I get a back timer off, and it's no different than anything else. And right there, it was Coded just did not understand. He didn't realize that Fook 1 was going to be hanging around in the top brush. It goes aggressive just to try to punish the cannon. So it's a little bit back into the pocket of Cerberus, thankfully. The kill going over to Lee Sin, obviously, usually I'm in favor of getting some gold early into his pocket so you can actually start spreading around the love as much as possible.
Not a lot to see in this replay. It is, as you said, textbook, just bait and switch. Coded went for a trade, did not realize that Fook was there, so the kill is claimed. Looking at the rest of the map, the bot lane has been very quiet, put in with the confidence to just go for a cull. I think he knows not much is going to happen in this lane, and I think he's right. Mid lane scraps back and forth, but again, things have ended up fairly even. Yado, though, still punishable without his flash, as Killer Queen goes for the Gromp.
Interesting. The back and forth between Fuquan and Killer Queen has kind of defined this game already, not in terms of just like ganking, but also just their interactions in general between the two. As we've seen it a number of times, actually. Killer Queen's had a bit of a better effect because he had not only a top side play, but also like the mid lane gank that had gone pretty well for themselves inside of this one. Fuquan got that one good play, which actually, I need to ask you something, because Fuquan died. Did he run directly back to top lane to sit in the brush to lane gank? Okay, that's a little strange to me because he also cleared up, which means that he didn't actually have camps to go to. So Fuquan kind of sacrificed a little bit to help out his top laner. So if that's called well played from them, it did work. Yeah, that's all that matters. I mean, he is dead though, so.
He is starting up the dragon at the moment. Looks like Cerberus do have full control over this one. Killer Queen on the top side of the river. So there should just be a Cloud Drake picked up for Cerberus. They used that bot lane prio that the blue gun bought them. Very, very well. Good stuff there by Puddin and Huber. And of course, good from Fuquan to be there to pick it up. Overall, a quiet early game other than a few little skirmishes. And I think it's ended up a dragon on one side and about 500 gold on the other. I think both teams are sitting fairly pretty.
Yeah, we're not broken into a point of the game where neither team feels like they've got control. I loved this from Coded. Coded was actually trying to call for Viego to assist on the top side of the map to punish Pos further. Ooh, what a grab on the bottom side. Okay.
Hook has landed, but of course it is a Tahm Kench, a very, very tanky fish, has that grey health. But nonetheless, good accuracy from CBL. I think it was Crincy that said it during the draft. CBL actually has an incredibly good Thresh. He just doesn't bring it out as much as we'd like. So I'm glad to see him going back to it. I'm glad we don't have a Leona Nautilus matchup. Our support's trying some new things. And I think he is enabled with this Thresh pick to really, really power Vit up.
Yeah, it's so weird because I always attribute like CBL's Thresh to like Slater's Ezreal, where for some reason they don't like to play the champion, even though they're insanely good at it, right? Like you see Slater's Ezreal, you're like, wow, this champion's gonna take over the game. Thresh is the exact same way for CBL, even back when he was playing on previous rosters. So it's kind of cool to see him out on this pick on today, because again, it's a situation where Luxury, they don't have much pressure on themselves. This is just them, I guess, just preparing for what is a future splits, being able to show off what they're capable of doing. And I'm hoping that they've been able to work on this as a solid pick. I love it with Jinx, because obviously you can reposition. It's good with Aphelios for the exact same region. Some of the hyper carry ADCs are able to get a lot more aggressive with their positioning when they've got a Thresh behind it as well.
Yeah. Another little skirmish. It is around this Rift Herald timing. A teleport coming in. The Vex ult has landed onto Killer Queen. They will follow it up as well, but he immediately flashes away, pulls them into a bad position. Vit now in trouble. The boot comes in on CBL, but here comes Pos with that slicing maelstrom, and they blow up Killer Queen. The most precious kill you can get is the jungler, but look where Coded is. A Gobble coming in to buy some time for Pos, but Coded still a huge threat with that Hextech ultimatum.
Not able to get enough done, it looks like, was the side of Luxury. As Cerberus, they find all of their members in the right place at the right time to find this big team fight around the Rift Herald. Had Coded been there a little faster, I wonder if they were able to actually get kind of an infringement right there, because the teleport from Pulse put him into the right position, and Coded wasn't able to respond to that in kind. And so it did open up for Cerberus here to actually take a very swaying move towards the Rift Herald, where they get to pick up the one kill against Killer Queen, and they end up with the Rift Herald in their back pocket as well, which is quite nice. That should help equalize some of the gold lead to kick off the game. A nice kind of forcing move here from Cerberus. Again, the team fight, it was looking a little strange because they started to get into this little clustered area, and it kind of took it on two sides, and Vit was left out to dry. I was really worried about this. Blazes almost saves this fight at the end here, which I can really appreciate. They're pinched into a bunch of space. Blazes drops a ridiculous amount of damage, but the Tahm Kench, man, it's just too good of a champion to actually make an effect.
It's unfortunate, for sure. Not quite able to activate anything with Luxury. Cerberus did well. Huber with good awareness to make sure he had his Devour up for the moment it was needed. So now with a Herald picked up, this 500 gold lead should evaporate at some point, but of course no rush on that one. Puddin still farming up as well. Has a Cull that can equalize the slight CS deficit that he is in.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool to me, at least, because Artemis has been subbed out the last couple of series. I know when we've been casting, which is a little weird because Artemis is Artemis, right? Like it's really hard to see why it is that Artemis would be taken out in favor of Puddin. But Puddin's actually had some good.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Killer Queen coming in, but with Fook showing his face, they're on the run. The Vex ult again being used. Killer Queen, he's going low. He will go down, and that's going to be 2 given over to Yado.
Well played around Yado right there. This is Fook 1 noticing that, again, the Vex is an incredibly powerful pick. Yado is very good at it. I'm surprised we haven't seen it more over the course of this split, given how many struggles have been held from the side of Cerberus. And right here, it's Fook 1 playing against the proper position. They're going to go for a reset to play against bottom side as well, try to get the Aphelios some additional gold. You can see Vit and CBL should be anticipating this, hanging around a little longer than I thought they would have.
Yeah, but 4 members now down here. They're not actually going to call for a dive. They're just going to hang out. There's an Aphelios ult. Really doesn't do any damage, that blue ult, on no items.
Yeah. Interesting. You who actually saves this play really and truthfully is CBL. CBL's positioning here was kind of gorgeous. This is the play in the mid lane. Yado was very aggressive with his positioning. It was actually Killer Queen getting hit by the Q. Oh, we're back to live, and Coded just killed Plas. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I can deduce what happened. It looks like just a flash Hextech ultimatum just caught Plas napping. Yeah. Hopefully we get a replay on that one.
Yeah, I get to see a little bit of Coded kind of flexing, which is something that I wanted to make note of, which is that if they set the Camille off into the right pace, while Boss will have pretty decent team fight effect, it's going to be difficult in the side lane to actually manage in the one-on-one up against the Camille, which is why earlier I had said, okay, like I was really happy with what the Viego, like a Coded calling for resources, because again, setting this into the right position is great. I like that he dodged the beginning part of this, because if he gets stunned up, then maybe Boss is able to actually sneak out through the stun. So using that Hextech ultimatum not only locked him in place, but also prevented the stun a little bit longer to buy even just another second or two for some crucial cooldowns to make sure that he was going to bring down the cannon.
Yeah, really good stuff there out of Coded. The shining light of the team right now as he is 2-1. The rest of the team are struggling. Not a huge amount. Of course, they've still got this Jinx scaling up. I don't want to paint a picture of doom and gloom when that's just simply not the case. But we did see Cerberus able to pick up the Dragon. They now have 2. We move on to the Infernal Rift. And there's a big collapse towards the bot lane. They want to get this Aphelios more gold. They want to try and crack a tower.
They've been trying. Multiple members here from the side of Luxury are kind of posturing in the area when the time comes. A grab onto the Rift Herald actually stalls it for a little bit longer than they would have wanted.
Put in. Careful. Careful. He's okay. The chompers weren't up. So he does get that tower plate money, and they do manage to back away.
That's about it. It does get split between a couple of members, but yeah, they kind of got what they wanted in the end here, which is that, again, Pudding gets some gold. Fook1 gets a little bit of gold as well, just from the tower plates. They don't get nearly as much as I think they wanted. I think they wanted that play to go better. Oh, Vit!
Oh, they're moving in as Vit is in trouble. He's lit on fire. Huber goes forward, puts him into the belly. Can Puddin deliver the damage through the exhaust? He certainly can as he burninates the countryside. Fantastic stuff. On the top side of the map as well, they have found Killer Queen. They have taken him down. Cerberus are looking lovely.
Across the board, Cerberus looking a lot better than they had in previous weeks. Obviously, Luxury is a little bit of a different animal than some of the teams they've been facing, but still, nonetheless, they've been able to kind of change up quite a bit. Some of the individual moments here for Cerberus in a couple of lanes now is actually looking a lot better than what we've seen previously.
Blazers managing to fend off the last bit of that aggression, but let's go have a look at the replay. What happened in this mid lane?
Oh, Blazes with a very nice charm, but it just doesn't actually mean that much because Yado is like somehow ridiculously healthy all the time. He's sitting on like 1600 health, and it makes it difficult for them to actually full burst him down. In fairness, Killer Queen was out of range of the ultimate. If the ultimate tags and maybe you get like a stun off or something like that, you actually end up killing off the Vex before anything else actually comes through. But that clearly was not the case actually. Now Coded.
A little bit caught out, but they can't lock him up for long enough. He's still got hookshot wall dive to get out of there. Even though Fook is in the area, spotted by Scrya's ward. Vit respects the fact that he's alone and that they know he's alone. So he does back off well. This Jinx hasn't quite completed an item. They haven't put as much gold into Vit as Cerberus has put in. They're really entrusting him to be the carry. And look, we've talked about it obviously, but I think it's worth coming back to again and again. The fact that this guy is coming in for Artemis. Look, Artemis had a couple of rough splits recently, but he is still a multi-time MVP. He's always been the best ADC in Vietnam. So the fact that Puddin has been able to come in and actually show why he deserves to be in is so impressive from this rookie.
It's a question of, again, I don't know that having Artemis in this lineup would change all that much about this, because doing the same thing with Artemis might yield the same results. But what's more clear is, like, Pudding is doing well, right? Like, it's not that
Yeah.
Pudding is bad at the game. It's just that, like,
The fact that you can do the same thing as Artemis is huge.
Yeah, that's really big for having a
That's all going in. They're going to try and get the one-shot. Everfrost lands. They get it. They have the reset. They can follow in onto Killer Queen, and they do. Another double kill goes over to Yano. 6-0.
Luxury just seemed to be like completely caught off guard by just about everything that is happening right now with Cerberus, like across the board. Luxury is like they're just getting caught in places they aren't expecting to get caught. They're getting aggressed against in places they're not expecting to get aggressed against. And it's so weird because there's just no aggressive moves to come out in response. Luxury in the first couple of minutes were like, all right, we had the Viego, you played to the top side. I thought there were a couple of really good plays in there. But Cerberus so far, like basically since the 5-minute mark, have just been in complete control of every bit of aggression that's been held across the map. And so far, it's boding very, very poorly for the future effects of Luxury because they control everything.
No. Blazers is caught out, has a Spirit Rush. He hit a very important charm. He dashes back over, very bold. Perhaps the right call is they're trying to get now onto Huber. Coded leading the way. Hextech Ultimatum U still has access to that grey health, pops it now. But look at them going. Camille gobbled up. They're going to sacrifice the Catfish. They did pick up the Herald. Now Killer Queen with that stereotypical aggression, and now Poss arrives. That's going to be a cannon ult to turn everything around, and Puddin brings the guns. And that was way too far by Luxury.
Yeah, it's way too far into the jungle. They look for just like massive amount of aggression. I know we talked about it before. Luxury had a really big propensity previously to do this as well, where they just like over or like aggress very, very deeply into enemies. Here, they're down so much gold, like you just can't be caught doing that. Killer Queen, you're down. Like, I think he's at 5 deaths, maybe 6 deaths at this point. What are you doing running into the enemy jungle like that, even when you've got the Tomcat? You just don't have the ability to respond. The one place they're doing well is Coded, which is why I was like, okay, Coded gets a pick. We're fine with that, right? Like, you take your gold where you can get it. You get the Camille slowly ahead inside of a game like this, and maybe you have a chance to play a bit more pick comp as the game kind of changed to the mid game. But now that might even get shut out.
Yeah, Coded does have the mobility. Ooh, that last Mistral Bolt, not quite enough. The Flash gets him away from the Shadow Surge as well. So Coded will slink away.
Yeah, Coded able to get out. He's 3-1 right now, and again, the only really shining spot here for Luxury pretty much at all. Everybody else has fallen by the wayside in terms of gold, in terms of relevancy inside of a game like this. They kind of have to play around Coded exclusively, but just haven't been able to push that advantage super heavily yet, which makes sense. He's been on top side pretty much the entirety of the game. He took that tower just a few minutes ago as well, which did bode for a bit more gold in their back pocket. But you can see how difficult it is. Cerberus now with this incredible team fighting team, when you've got the ability to dive with Vex and Kennen and Lee Sin all together, and you've got a 7-kill Vex at this point in the game. You've got an Aphelios that's feeling fantastic. You're taking 5-on-5s any chance you get.
Yeah, you absolutely are. Blazers was definitely feeling good about this one, and I don't blame him. Coded certainly backing him up, but it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, they get the first kill onto Huber, which makes, I mean, like, this was going to happen pretty much no matter what. If the hook lands, I'm okay with them going into Yado, because obviously Yado is basically assassinated. But again, Killer Queen, you're too far in. There's 4 members from Cerberus just kind of sitting here, and he goads CBL, and also he was kind of goading Coded a little bit further in than I think they should have been as well, and CBL gets punished. Coded not so much because he's got the hook shot. You can see how much Coded is able to do if you just play around him a little bit more. I loved when they were going for the topside play at the very beginning of the game. Just haven't had that kind of effect ever since the game has really taken a turn for the worse.
Yeah, for sure. And this Viego for Killer Queen, there's no way to sugarcoat it. He's 0-5 Rebel. It's a bit of a disaster. Poss able to clear out his wave there using the cannon abilities well. Cerberus are holding strong. Fort Cerberus has only got that one little chink taken out of it in the top lane. They are loving this one. How do they play out the mid game? How do they actually bring this one home?
Okay, so first off, their team fighting is excruciatingly good, and what they've got right now is a triple dragon setup where Infernal Soul's on the table. They're like, Luxury is going to be forced to fight whether they want to or not around this next objective.
Yeah, the hook comes in. They do catch onto the Kench, so Hubert's in trouble. Yado misses the ultimate as well, but he's still in the backline. He's still a problem they need to deal with or just run away from. 4v5 for Luxury, but that might not be good enough.
No, it might not be. Now, you still have time on Dragon as well. They're going to get bottom tower, which is nice. Blazes is kind of securing that ahead of time, be able to utilize this to help set up the Dragon in a couple of minutes, which is one thing. And they've been able to find picks in a couple of places because they do have a really powerful Camille in their back pocket now with 2 full completed items, among all other things. And again, what I was alluding to respond to your previous question was that Cerberus, they can force this team to fight, and when they've got this much gold and kind of a ability pretty much everywhere across the map, it's going to be difficult for Luxury to try to find a fight win without just getting picks and being able to stall out the dragon stacking here from Cerberus without having to take that fair 5-on-5. So situations like this, where again you're using Coded as a pick tool, you're using the Hextech ultimatum to prevent anything else from coming through, and then defending the remainder of your play. This is kind of what they should have been doing the entirety of the game.
And the crazy thing here is they were about 2 skill shots landing away from even more of them dying, despite the play starting off so well for them. If that Shadow Surge had landed, if the Moonlight Vigil lands, I think Luxury are in serious trouble, but we don't live in that universe. We live in the timeline where they missed. There is a dragon a minute away. Cerberus have picked up Soul Point, so they will be going for that one. Very hard. Coded is in trouble. It looks like the hookshot wall dive. No, never mind. It's still available. Ooh, the Chompers don't quite get the knockdown. The Shadow Surge doesn't quite land. Coded gets away by the hair on his chinny chin chin.
That's really, really good, I suppose. Keeping Coded alive. He's still going to have to take a back timer, so it's still going to be a lot of setup that they lose. You can see Puddin, especially with Infernum, it just has so much control around that mid lane. They're really walking at Baron right now. I feel like this is a bold call when Infernal Drake is going to be up in 45 seconds. They're going for it fully. The teleport's coming through.
Yeah, I think this is just a bait. They want to try and find a fight before the dragon if they can. Or maybe try and force... yeah, they did force a teleport from Blazers, as you said. So that's a big one to get rid of. I think we return to wave control into it. All Coded. Careful, careful. Moonlight Vigil is used and it just chunks him down.
Green-white is a fantastic setup for being able to kind of capture area because you can throw down turrets and you can use a lot more range on the Aphelios to really secure things and bunker in a lot better. And since they've got presence inside of the mid lane and inside the river, they kind of control this Infernal Dragon, which is what their neutral objective goal is going to be here for quite a bit of time, because obviously it's Infernal Soul and this is a humongous amount of power that's stored within this. Coded is on a fantastic flank angle. If they can find a way to fight this, it's got to be around him being able to get a pick on a Puddin.
For sure, and Post doesn't have a flank. That's another way to put it. This cannon, he has to flash in, but he's only zapping CBL. The Shadow Surge misses again. Yado's not going to be able to dive in, but they have picked up that opening kill regardless. Can they continue this one out Coded? Can he get anything done? Because Killer Queen certainly cannot. They trade 1 kill back. Blaze is doing well there. Post has to go gold. The health bars are so low. Vit will use the rocket. He runs forward. I don't know if you want to do that as he cops the Mistral Bolt, but with both junglers dead, the dragon is not safe to take. The Cerberus are going to do it anyway.
Jungler's not alive on either side, so there's no smite. You have to find execute damage, and right here, Coded's got a good amount of it, but if it is on the bottom side, it's a flanking Jinx. If they just ran into Jinx right here and right now, there could be problems.
Yeah, Puddin with that purple gun is extremely threatening. Yado, he finds his way onto the Jinx. Now they want to turn it around. Puddin with a red gun has sustained for years. He's already picked up one. Can he find a second? Blaze is very fast, but not fast enough to stop a dragon attempt. Killer Queen is alive. There's a Thresh to get him back there faster. He has the flash to get over the wall. He has a blast cone. This is going to come down to moments, Rebel. Fook is here, so is Killer Queen. The dragon is low, but it resets. We go for round 2. As the fight is there, they're trying to burst out Fook. He gets hit by the charm. 900 health, and Killer Queen does it. He keeps the soul away for another 5 minutes.
Okay, Baron buff is still on the table, though, so they have to somehow find a way to contest against this, because if they lose Baron buff, the snowball could still happen from Cerberus, where basically they take this Baron, they kill off all the outer towers around the map, they get all these pushing waves, and all of this was for naught because the next Infernal Ring is completely under their control. They aren't willing to push Luxury. I feel like this is a button they should have pushed immediately and gone for, because there was an opening that I felt like they had to really drive home that Luxury needed to contest them right-hand and right there, where they had this gold advantage, especially since they still have the Dragon lead, still have a massive gold lead, and all of their members' cooldowns back up. They decide against it, which I think is too defensive from Cerberus. We talked about this last time we casted them, where they were way too defensive in the game that they had won previously against Saigon Buffalo just on Saturday or Sunday, my apologies. And that right there felt like another moment of it, but still, great from Killer Queen being able to snag away that dragon, keep this game alive for the side of Luxury, because they're not too far out of it right now.
And this is the thing, whenever we have these big steals to deny a soul, the issue is, do it again in 5 minutes. You only buy time. 1 stack of an Infernal Drake doesn't actually do anything for you. It merely stops the Sword of Damocles from falling down. as the Baron setup, I should say, is now coming in. Killer Queen taking so much damage, he gets one shot.
Killer Queen's been bullied this game. Killer Queen has just like not been able to live inside of a fight, inside of anything. They've been picking him time and time and time again, and here they're going to be able to use this to great effect. This is the second time now that they've had him picked off. Now they're actually using it to try to leverage the Baron, and this is even later, which means it's even more valuable for using around the Dragon setup.
Rocket is used mostly for vision. There is still a cannon to keep track of, and there he goes. Immediately in, Huber has a huge shield from using that Devour, but look at the damage Artifact is able to put out. It's not quite enough, though, as him and Coded have fallen. Huber is low, Fuquan is low as well. Yano bleeding out, but what isn't low is Putin's health bar. He is able to take up this Baron, he is able to deal the damage, and now it's on Vit and CBL to find a miracle. Poss goes gold, has backup coming in from Putin as he tries to deal it out. There's that first kill for Vit. We'll get him excited. Here he goes. He's got one, he's got two. Can he find anything more? Goes gold, does Yano. The traps are there, should be able to pick up the kill, but no, the Q lands. The triple kill will be all it is. Killer Queen has now rejoined the fray. Fuquan and Huber will not be able to get onto him, but the Baron it actually went down. I'm sorry, I missed that. 2 Baron buffs secured now for Cerberus.
At the very last couple of moments of that fight, Fuquan's able to secure the Baron with the constant execute damage. Vit almost puts the team completely on his back like hiking here and climbs them up the mountain by doing basically all the work himself inside of that pit area, which is incredible. Vit has just been insane for this team and almost drags this one through. I thought Blaze's Everfrost was also gorgeous. Splitting up the team like that felt like a mistake, though, because Vit couldn't drop rockets into multiple members. So I feel like that Hextech ultimatum from Coded actually ended up not being the right play, but look at how many low members there are. Fook is low, Huber's low, Yato's low, even Poss 2-3 auto attacks away from going down. And Vit says, we got to do something here, so he goes for it really, really heavily and makes the effect happen. Look how quickly Putin's health bar disappears eventually with the rockets coming through. Only took 2 or 3. It is massive to be able to actually allow for Vit to do all of this all in one play. And Fuquan, again, also heroically is able to land a Q and actually get the shutdown, because if Killer Queen had rejoined this fight and actually allowed the Jinx to have a bit of front line in front, they might have actually taken a full 5-man fight. They would have been on the run.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so exciting when we have these clutch moments, when someone like Vit, and okay, his team is struggling. Luxury will not be going to playoffs. His team is struggling, but Vit has been consistently impressive.
Mm-hmm.
He has actually shown up. He is an improvement. He is a shining light from this split going forward into summer. And those little pog moments where he has the bloodthirst and the adrenaline to be like, we have to do something.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's a little much sometimes. I will give that one criticism, is sometimes he can get punished for some mistakes in positioning, but when CBL's on something that allows him to do this a lot more, you can see the star power that comes out from Vit in a team like this. If they can somehow find a form where they get Blazes back into like winter form, they get Killer Queen especially back into winter form, is the one player I'm looking to really recover from this split, and Coded continues the way he is, this team is actually going to be menacing legitimately for some of the top teams inside of the league. They just weren't able to put the pieces together now, which is why I'm so happy they're avoiding relegations one way or another. Still got plenty of gameplay against Cerberus here, who have been playing a very solid game themselves. They're by no means still in the winning like situation here. 10 seconds. 10 makes another difference. Seconds
on another chance at Infernal Soul for Cerberus. They're all here. They have all the ults locked and loaded. We need to see Yato bringing this 8-kill Vex to bear, but he already throws out the Shadow Surge and misses. He can't get into the backside. This has been a criticism of Yato for the last 10 minutes or so. These Shadow Surges have not been good enough. The Dragon now being hit by Killer Queen. They're just holding it steady. 3k health on it. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Killer Queen. Again, they buy another 5 minutes before any souls. Put it now, moving into the backside, trying to get on top to Blazes, but he gets over the wall. In goes the Moonlight Vigil. They burn away, but it's not going to be enough quite yet. But now the kills are starting to come in. Vit, Killer Queen, CBL, all taken down. It's only Coated and Blazes left standing. He has to teleport to get out of there. So you may have stopped the Dragon, but you couldn't win the fight.
Not in the slightest. The Dragon stopping, again, does stall this game if Cerberus can't do irreparable damage to the base right here and right now. The mid tower is going to go down. I don't think they're going to be able to hold the inhibitor tower. It's a question of whether they can hold the inhibitor, and I doubt that's the case as well. But I don't know that they just pure win off of this, because they still have 15 seconds, but I don't know that they've got the time to just outright end the game. I could be wrong, because they've got 2 full waves to work with here.
Okay. I don't think so. Not with the Shadow Surge missing as well. Yato, the skill shot accuracy needs to go up. He's having a fantastic game. He has 8 kills on the Vex, but you still need to be able to get those resets rolling within a fight. It is what the champion is built around.
Oh.
I don't think that would have killed anyone, to be fair. Maybe kill Boss. Maybe.
It was tough because Boss was at the back, and it doesn't matter because it missed anyway, so it's not worth harping on. The important part about this, Luxury again steals a dragon away, somehow keeps this game still within reach, right? Like, it's like, being down 6,000 gold is harmful. There's, like, not much you can do about that, like, at this point in the game. Like, that's a lot of gold that Cerberus has an advantage. But they don't have an Infernal Soul, which would be a winning factor in this game. Like, that almost certainly just wins you the game, so they're not out of it yet. It's, like, impossible to call them out of a game like this. That last fight, can't give enough props to Fuquan. I've been critiquing of Fuquan. I like yesterday, or I think it was Sunday, I tore into him pretty rough because I thought he had a lot of rough performances over the split, which is worthwhile. That fight basically went off the back of him. Found a fantastic insect to put Vit right on top of Boss so that the ultimate could come through from the cannon and actually assassinate him, and it took away any wings. Because at one point, I was worried because Vit was just sitting there auto-attacking front to back, and I'm like, you can't let a Jinx do this. Guess he decided to fix that. Fuquan did it for him.
For sure, we have been very harsh to Fook throughout the split. Sometimes justified, maybe sometimes not. But this game, we certainly have no harsh words to be saying. He is having a fantastic performance on the Lee Sin. It's what we want to see out of him. As now, Luxury, they have bought themselves more time. They have continued building a situation where their Jinx can try and fight back, but Aphelios is no slouch. He has 4 items built. I hate to not see an LDR on him. I'm going to be honest. I think someone does need to give Lord Dominic a reminder. But still, he is powerful.
Again, we've done the math plenty of times to be able to know that that item's going to make a difference. But to me, it's all about ultimate cooldowns that are actually looking at here from the side of Cerberus.
Killer Queen blast coning away. They can't chase down. Its Baron has returned to the Rift. And Cerberus have their eyes locked firmly on the prize.
Ooh. Wait, okay. It feels like Luxury is actually posturing really aggressively for a team that's down so much gold. It's a little bit ridiculous how quickly like they've actually shifted the tune of what's happening with their song here. They're going to push back into mid lane, make sure this is shoved out. It's difficult really heavily with the inhibitor down to actually do this. Red-White's also perfect gun setup for Putin to be able to actually just straight up solo this Baron. I worry that he burns it, but now he's got red. Yeah, now he's got green-white, which is still a fantastic gun setup. So the management here is great.
Shadow Surge hits. They can go in. If they can blow up this Thresh, they can absolutely pop off. If they can't quite do enough damage, Killer Queen will go down first. Bit of a sacrificial lamb. Coda doing what he can. Can they actually get a kill onto anyone? They do manage to kill Fuquan, but the rest of the team will go down in exchange. It's only Vit left alive. Luxury simply do not have the stats to fight back against Cerberus, and Cerberus execute the team fight to perfection. Puddin wants to show who the pop-off AD carry is as he flashes over the trap line. He takes down Vit, and Cerberus put the doubt to rest, at least for a moment. As they move on forward, they will take down the Nexus towers, and they will take the lead into Game 2.
Incredible. A very different looking Cerberus, because usually we're not accustomed to them taking a lead like this in a game like this. Again, they've been a little bit soft with some of the calls during the course of this